whose lives are shrouded in mystery, and they want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know. I wrote 4 years ago a book about... I think that Harry has behaved appallingly, and after all, he did not send any good wishes to his father.
Prince Harry is spiraling, and the reason has jaws dropping everywhere. Tom Bower, the ruthless royal biographer who's made a career out of exposing palace secrets, just dropped his boldest claim yet. And no, it's not about Meghan's diva antics. It's not about the $100 million Netflix deal, and it's not even about Harry's courtroom battles with the tabloids. This time, the spotlight is burning on something far more personal: their daughter, Lilibet. Yes, the very child Meghan and Harry proudly showcased as the fresh, modern face of their rebranded royal family. But behind the picture-perfect images, Bower suggests there's a shadowy story that just won't die.
I do. I write about people who don't want to be written about.
Yeah, and again, equally with this scenario, you're talking about Meghan.
He's reigniting whispers that have been circling since the day Archie was born. Whispers about secrecy, staged ceremonies, and paperwork that never quite added up. From private christenings locked away from the public, to redacted birth certificates, to suspiciously conflicting timelines, the puzzle pieces are painting a picture Harry and Meghan never wanted out in the open. Now, with Bower yanking the lid off once again, Harry's meltdown doesn't look like a dad protecting his child. It looks like a man terrified that the cracks in his carefully curated image are about to explode. The tighter he clings to the narrative, the more desperate he appears, and the public is watching every nervous move. Now let's get serious. Tom Bower is not the type to throw soft punches. When this man takes aim, he goes straight for the jugular.
Princess Lilibet is already growing up fast. Meghan Markle gives some rare insight into life with her.
His books have ripped the mask off shady bankers, exposed corrupt politicians, and yes, even tore into Meghan in his bestseller Revenge. And now, sources close to him claim he's cooking up an updated dossier that could ignite a firestorm, this one zeroing in on the mysterious details of Lilibet's birth. Think about it. When William and Kate welcomed their kids, the world got the full royal treatment: pomp, pageantry, and proud parents posing on those famous hospital steps. But Harry and Meghan? Total blackout. Both Archie and Lilibet's arrivals were shrouded in a fog of secrecy. No smiling photos on the hospital stairs, no open press coverage, not even a clear hospital location. Just silence, carefully staged PR shots, and a demand that people take their word for it. At first, many shrugged it off, blaming the couple's so-called obsession with privacy. But now, Bower is pressing the questions that never really went away. Why all the mystery? Why the smoke and mirrors? What were they hiding? And according to insiders, Bower's claims don't stop with logistics. He's poking straight into the legitimacy of the entire Sussex narrative. Whispers of official documents that don't line up, timelines that mysteriously clash, and perhaps most damning of all, the royal family's icy refusal to openly acknowledge Lilibet beyond a handful of carefully worded press lines.
Lilibet to celebrate her 4th birthday. The Duchess of Sussex wrote on...
Remember that silence? It may not have been polite discretion. It may have been a statement in itself. Queen Elizabeth was said to have met little Lilibet just once during the Platinum Jubilee back in 2022. But here's the twist. Not a single photo was ever released. And now, whispers are swirling. Was that meeting even real? Or was it staged for appearances? That single question has Harry practically foaming at the mouth, because if Tom Bower manages to plant enough doubt, the entire Sussex fairy tale starts to look like smoke and mirrors. For years, Harry and Meghan poured millions into polishing their brand as doting parents. The perfect modern couple breaking away from stiff royal traditions. They sold the world on the image of a fresh, relatable family, basking in their independence. But what happens if the very foundation of that story, their children, suddenly looks questionable?
Have to give up milk deliveries. But I do think that when you're mocked so publicly as they've been, their value begins to nosedive pretty quickly.
If people begin to believe the narrative is suspicious, or worse, manufactured, their glossy image could collapse faster than a house of cards in a rainstorm. And here's the kicker, Harry knows it. Behind palace doors and California gates, reports say he's been ranting, raving, even threatening legal action against anyone bold enough to question the circumstances of his children's births. But trying to sue Tom Bower? That's like trying to fight a wildfire with a squirt gun. The man thrives on confrontation, and the harder Harry pushes back, the bigger the story becomes. Bower thrives on litigation. He's built an entire career staring down billionaires, oligarchs, and powerful families in courtrooms across the globe. So when Harry threatens to sue, it doesn't silence Bower, it hands him a megaphone. His claims only get louder, juicier, and even more irresistible to the press. The more Harry huffs and puffs, the bigger the headlines become. And then there's Meghan. Oh, Meghan. Her reaction has been just as revealing. Instead of cooling things down, sources say she's absolutely seething. In her eyes, Bauer's digs aren't just attacks on the Sussex brand, they cut straight to her legacy as a mother.
Just felt she didn't want to have Meghan diverting attention from her husband and from the ceremony, and knew.
And when Meghan feels cornered, she doesn't back off. She doubles down with polished victimhood speeches, sprinkled with self-help slogans, acting like the misunderstood heroine in her own soap opera. Don't be surprised if we see a teary podcast comeback, or some Netflix-friendly confessional where she insists the cruel, racist media is targeting her children. But behind closed doors, those crocodile tears can't hide the truth. Bauer has her trapped in a corner, and the timing couldn't be worse. Their brand is already wobbling. Spotify yanked the cord on Meghan's podcast after a single season. Netflix insiders whisper that even the streamer is sick of pouring money into projects that don't deliver. Harry's endless legal crusades back in the UK are draining their accounts faster than Meghan can peddle her overpriced jars of jam. Now add Bauer's bombshell into the mix, and suddenly the Sussexes don't just look out of touch, they look downright untrustworthy. Even more delicious is the royal family's silence. William, Kate, and King Charles have all kept their lips firmly sealed, standing back and quietly watching as Harry unravels in real time. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear the muffled chuckles echoing through Buckingham Palace corridors, because no one understands the power of silence better than the firm. They know one golden rule: once doubt creeps into the public's mind, it never leaves. Look back at Diana's explosive interviews, or Camilla's decades-long battle to shake off her reputation. Once a narrative sticks, it defines you for life. And for Harry and Meghan, the fresh narrative forming now is brutal, that their glossy fairy tale family might not be as pure, perfect, or authentic as they've tried to sell it. And let's be clear, no one is waving around definitive proof of wrongdoing. That's not how reputations collapse. In the ruthless world of public perception, proof doesn't matter. What matters are the whispers, the innuendo, and those irresistible little what-ifs. Tom Bauer knows this game better than anyone. With a single suggestion of inconsistencies, he's sparked a wildfire of speculation that the Sussexes will never fully put out. Every time Harry explodes in anger, every time Meghan cries foul and plays the victim, they don't calm the fire, they fan the flames. The irony is painful. Harry once bragged that leaving the royal family would finally give him and Meghan freedom, the power to control their own narrative. Yet here they are, trapped in a story they can't escape, with silence from the palace proving far louder than any of their speeches. And look at where they are now, boxed in, defensive, panicking as one man with nothing more than a pen slices their glossy fairy tale to ribbons.
Described by Harry as vicious in his book, and Kate and William, who were unbelievably traduced both in the book and in the Oprah Winfrey interviews and by
the public? Oh, they're loving every second of it. Social media is ablaze with memes and jokes, with critics gleefully pointing out the glaring hypocrisy. Harry and Meghan spent years lecturing the royal family about transparency, screaming that the monarchy needed to open its doors and show the world the truth. Yet when it comes to their own children, what have they offered? Nothing but shadows, secrecy, and contradictions. And maybe that's the sharpest sting for Harry. The hypocrisy is no longer whispered, it's being shouted from every headline. You can't preach honesty and openness while playing cloak and dagger with your own life. With Bauer dragging it all into the spotlight, this isn't just another PR hiccup. The Sussexes are staring down the brutal possibility that their entire multi-million-dollar brand could crumble under the sheer weight of public doubt. So here's the million-dollar question. What exactly does Tom Bauer know? Is it just a small inconsistency that he's masterfully spinning into something bigger? Or is there a darker, more damaging truth lurking in the shadows of the Sussex fairy tale? Whatever the reality, Harry's frantic overreaction tells the story loud and clear. He's terrified. Terrified that the truth might finally slip into daylight. Because if the first wave of Bauer's revelations had Harry fuming, the second round left him completely unhinged. Picture it. Harry pacing through his Montecito mansion like a man possessed, muttering about protecting his children, while Meghan hunches over her laptop, frantically firing off emails to PR firms in London and Los Angeles. And why? Because this time, Bauer isn't just pointing to gaps in paperwork or dodgy timelines. He's aiming straight for the heart of their entire narrative. Bauer isn't just poking holes in their timeline. He's hammering straight at the one thing Harry can't stomach: their credibility as parents. That's the entire foundation of Harry's post-royal identity. He's built his so-called moral high ground on the image of being a doting, protective family man. Strip that away, and what's left? A bitter prince, a failed podcaster's husband, and a man without a throne. And according to royal insiders, Bauer may have more than whispers. He may have receipts, or at least claims strong enough to set tongues wagging. Rumors are swirling that he's dug up discrepancies between US birth certificates and the information the Sussexes reportedly provided to British officials. Imagine that. The couple who spent years screaming about privacy from the rooftops now face the uncomfortable suggestion that secrecy wasn't about protection at all. It may have been about covering up details that didn't fit their carefully crafted story. And then there's the platinum elephant in the room: Queen Elizabeth's Jubilee. Remember how Harry and Meghan swore up and down that little Lilibet was introduced to the Queen in private? Yet no photos were ever released. Out of respect, they said. But now Bowers' hint that no such meeting ever took place has royal circles quietly smirking. Because really, what's more believable? That the Queen met her great-granddaughter, and somehow not a single shred of proof exists? Or that the Sussexes spun a PR fairy tale to cement Lilibet's legitimacy in the royal family tree? Here's the twist. Harry's legal threats aren't silencing the whispers. They're backfiring spectacularly, making him look more desperate by the day. The harder he pushes back, the more people start asking, what exactly is he so afraid will come out? Every time Harry dials up his lawyers, Tom Bowers' grin only grows wider. Because here's the truth. When Harry drags someone into court, he doesn't silence them. He hands them a megaphone. Discovery, cross-examinations, and endless media coverage guarantee that the story won't just survive, it will thrive. And Meghan knows it. Sources say she's been quietly begging Harry to leave it alone. But Harry? He's too hot-headed, too consumed with the fantasy that he can muscle his way out of this narrative by sheer force. The irony is brutal. His furious outbursts aren't silencing whispers. They're making Bowers' claims sound more believable. After all, if these were nothing but baseless rumors, why is Harry sweating bullets? Why the panic? Meanwhile, the British press, once tiptoeing out of fear of lawsuits, are circling like sharks. Tabloids are back to asking the forbidden questions. Where was Lilibet really born? Did Meghan stage the Jubilee meeting with the Queen? The questions are multiplying faster than the Sussex PR machine can keep up. And it's no longer just Britain. Even in America, once their safe haven, the bubble is bursting. Spotify has already walked away. Netflix, insiders say, is quietly pulling back. And now even US outlets are starting to poke holes in the Sussex fairy tale. The final humiliation? Late-night comedians slipping sly jokes about mystery babies into their monologues. Once you become a punchline in Hollywood, the tide has officially turned. Meanwhile, the royal family's silence has never spoken louder. William, who has mastered the art of stoic calm, is reportedly amused by it all. Friends claim he privately rolls his eyes every time another one of Harry's tantrums makes the news. Because nothing makes the Windsors look stronger than Harry's public unraveling. And King Charles? He's far too busy polishing the monarchy's public image to waste energy rescuing Harry from yet another self-inflicted disaster. That's the cruelest irony of all. Harry left to escape his family's shadow, yet every time he stumbles, the royal silence only makes him look smaller, more isolated, more out of his depth. The louder Harry screams, the calmer they appear. It's a brutal contrast, and the public sees it. Meanwhile, the online battlefield has turned into a circus. Social media is a playground for skeptics and meme makers who are feasting on every contradiction. Old clips of Meghan waxing poetic about motherhood are now being stitched together with Bowers' claims, and the results are going viral. TikToks with sarcastic captions like "Mother of Mystery" or "Where in the world is Lilibet Diana?" are racking up millions of views, turning the Sussex fairy tale into an internet punchline. Even the so-called Sussex squad, the die-hard fans who once defended Meghan and Harry at any cost, are floundering. Their defenses have grown weaker. Hashtags, outrage, and emotional posts, but precious little in the way of facts. For every single post screaming, "Leave Meghan alone," there are 3 mocking her contradictions, piling on with memes and biting sarcasm. Public perception is a ruthless game, and right now, the scoreboard is flashing red in Meghan and Harry's disfavor. Behind the walls of their Montecito mansion, insiders whisper the tension is boiling over. Neighbors even claim they've heard raised voices spilling into the night. Meghan, they say, feels betrayed, furious that Harry can't stay calm long enough to let their PR team quietly bury the story. Instead, his rage keeps throwing gasoline on the fire. Behind closed doors, Meghan has reportedly accused Harry of being his own worst enemy, likening his temper to Diana's infamous volatility. Harry, in turn, fires back that it's Meghan's antics, her lawsuits, her truth bombs, her obsession with controlling every narrative that painted a target on their backs and drew bloodhounds like Bowers straight to their door. So now, the fairy tale couple who swore they left the UK for peace are locked in a California shouting match, haunted by the ghosts of their own contradictions. But beyond those Montecito walls, the wider world is asking harder questions. What's the real truth about little Lilibet? Was she genuinely presented to the Queen, or was that just a clever PR line? Why was her birth cloaked in more secrecy than any royal child in modern history? And why does every statement from the Sussexes read like a publicity stunt instead of a heartfelt family moment? These aren't fringe conspiracy theories anymore. They've gone mainstream. With Tom Bower fanning the flames, Meghan and Harry's carefully marketed brand of authenticity looks faker by the day. That's the real sting. They sold themselves to Netflix, Spotify, and the American public as raw, honest truth tellers, the antidote to stiff, uptight monarchy. But now, caught in their own contradictions, they're being recast as something very different. Con artists spinning an endless PR machine. And here's the brutal reality. When a seasoned investigator like Bower calls your bluff, it's checkmate. Harry's rage, Meghan's tears, the palace's icy silence. It's the cocktail the world can't stop sipping. The fairy tale is cracking in plain sight, and Bower's pen is sharper than ever. So what happens when the next revelation drops? Will the Sussexes survive another blow, or is this the beginning of their final unraveling? Stick around, because this storm is far from over. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.